Welcome to Metafile Minutes. I'm Eric Humes, your host today, and joining me is Eric Toomey from Dean Transportation. And today the name of the episode is From Friction to Freedom, how the power of internal champions can really drive a change in your AP automation. Eric, thank you so much for being here today. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. Happy to be a part of the show here today.
Yeah, no, hey, when we met last year and we were talking about the show, you had so much experience with automation and just having gone through so many of the trials and tribulations of evolution and involvement. I just really thought you'd be someone that people are going to want to hear from, and maybe even reach out to. And so if hopefully you're okay with that. We have I think 8 followers right now, so our fan base is growing every episode. So if we get to 10, there's a good chance someone reaches out. Now, you were saying your kids are really excited about the podcast today. Think they're going to be excited to hear about accounting automation?
They'll probably be interested for about 5 minutes and they'll probably be tuned out. My kids are 11 and 8, so their attention span for AP
Yeah.
automation is probably pretty limited.
Fair enough. Well, hey, at least we got this in earlier in the conversation, so now you can say hi. Off we go.
Right.
Um, you know, understanding that throughout any project, any kind of evolution, there's sometimes bumps in the road. Walk me through how long have you been using AP automation? When did you first get introduced to the idea of automation within AP?
So it's pretty interesting. I was at a user conference, um, and salesman John Sproul was there, kind of showing MetaViewer to the team, and that was my first interaction to this type of tool that could automatically read invoices, route them to approvers, and kind of first time seeing kind of digital AP. And I mean, I was just absolutely blown away of kind of at that point in time we were still manually hand keying invoices into GP, and definitely just wanted to learn more. So followed up with John after that and kind of saw a demo and just further amazed by what the capabilities of the software was. I think that was in about 2014.
Okay.
And then I think that we were live on the 6.8 version of MetaViewer sometime in maybe 2015, late 2015.
Ooh, you act fast. You like something, you jump on it.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to waste any time. I saw the potential value that this product could provide, and could not stand 1 second more of the manual processes that we were stuck in.
And so, back then in 2014, was it big on just trying to eliminate the use of paper, or was it just really like the time constraints that the manual processes that were really hampering you down?
Well, a little bit of both. There's something about Dean Transportation. We're a school bus contractor where public schools in the state of Michigan outsource their transportation to a company like ours. And we have 50 locations throughout the state of Michigan, and one place where like our accounting is central to one of our headquarter office. So all the invoices would either get mailed to our local office and then funnel into the local office or to the headquarters. And I can remember our accounts payable person having stacks of paper on their desk that you could just barely see their eyes peeking over. And
Right.
it just, the data entry, the manual processes, the file cabinet space that we used to have to maintain. I just constantly thought there's just got to be a better way. Just awful process.
It's funny. I often hear about the elimination of paper, but I never think about just even the space in the office that the filing cabinets used
Oh,
to
yeah.
take, or like the full closet or room that can now realistically be a network switching board, or something else, bring you more into the times. Was there any, when you brought this in or brought the idea forward, like what was the initial resistance, or was everyone pretty aligned, like, oh yeah, this is the way of the future?
Well, we like to be forward thinking at Dean Transportation, and want to always be kind of on the cutting edge technology. I really had to put together what the use case for it was and kind of justify the price tag, because it's not cheap to go in this direction.
No.
And just making sure that we would definitely get the bang for our buck. And once I put the plan in place and kind of sold it to kind of the owners of Dean Transportation, uh, we just kind of went for it.
Okay. I mean, and like, where did you focus on like the simplification part of it, like simplifying the everyday, or more on like the ROI in terms of the currency of time? Like, what was your big return on investment in paying up front for this new automated platform?
It was definitely the time. It was going to be so much efficiency. How
Mm-hmm.
fast we were going to be able to quickly process invoices by having somebody not keying stuff, and just the verification of data, the double checking of data.
Right. Yeah. I mean, human errors, it's funny, like human errors, it's inevitable, but no matter what you do in automation, there's still a human aspect to it. Have you noticed that through the, now the new process with the invoicing, everything being automated and scanning, that there's less human error, or that there's less errors in general happening?
Oh yeah, there's a ton less errors, and just to be able to filter out duplicates easily. That's
Right.
that's another key thing. Um,
Yeah, that's true. A duplicate, I mean, no one wants to pay someone else twice, right? And then
oh,
trying to realize where that money went, but it did, and it does occur. So was all the staff, like how was learning the platform when you first came to automation? Did you find that like that platform was easily adaptable by those that have been doing manual for so long? Because sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, so the person that was the primary user of MetaViewer, our accounts payable person at that time, she had been in her role for many years, so kind of stuck in the ways. And
Yeah.
uh, I can't say that there was a lot of pushback to change, and we all understood that our existing process was awful, and we needed to do something different. So uh, it took a little bit of encouragement to have the change happen, but once that person saw the benefits of it, definitely just totally on board for it.
Yes. So you even were able to convert like the ones that don't want to necessarily, give up the old ways. Like they see the benefit and they were aligned and
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was a very easy sell once they see the product and the direction that we wanted to go.
right. Do you think there was fear that maybe they thought they were going to lose their job? Like sometimes I wonder if automation has a weird context to people thinking like, well, I don't want to be automated out of a career. And I don't think that's what we do at all. But
I could see that existed in some organizations, but we have one accounts payable person doing all
fair
of the
enough.
accounts payable tasks. So I mean, however automated that you get, you're always going to have to
Someone.
for at least one person to do something. So I felt that we were pretty safe there. I mean, if I was a person, all I did all day was hand key invoices, and now we have a tool that reads it, routes it, might be a little concerned there, but
Yeah. No, and that's fair. And then, but I mean, and that's where you hope that, if there's someone that's doing that with their time, there's probably a better use of their time within the company that will make things more efficient elsewhere as well, right? Like, and that's the idea, is trying to create just efficiencies throughout the chain.
yep.
Um, how do you keep your 50 locations separated with there only being one accounting like platform at a centralized office? Is that organized pretty easily through the platform?
So yes, so once we got MetaViewer, we were able to standardize how we receive invoices.
Right.
So I mean that is one of the key takeaways for probably a successful MetaViewer implementation, and for MetaViewer to be successful. I mean, our primary way to receive invoices are you have to email them to the accounts payable mailbox, and putting those other stipulations the way MetaViewer needs to receive those uh, those documents.
Right.
Um,
Now, you were using initially, if you came to 6.8, you would have been doing like a document management and AP then, kind of in cohort, just the way that we store
yep. Oh
the
yeah. Yep.
invoicing.
Yep. So, back to when, we implemented that, how I said previously, all of our invoices would funnel in from paper from all our different sites. Maybe some of them would, trickle in from directly from the vendor. So being able to email those directly from the accounts payable mailbox, uh, streamlined everything, increased
Right.
the processing time drastically. So it became kind of a tough process to manage 50 locations and all that paper to a relatively easy process to be able to manage 50 locations by just there's one way to receive
Right.
invoices.
How long did it take you to kind of get your vendors aligned, or was there a while where you were still scanning then invoices into and then emailing them to to the AP inbox?
So it took some time. I would say
Mhm.
to fully get everybody on board, it was probably I would say probably 8 months to get everybody fully on board.
Okay. I would have thought a year. So like 8 months, great. I mean, because there's always going to, it's just like changing habits, right? Like it's so hard to sometimes change a habit, especially when it's just one that's become ingrained. But at the end of the day, they realize it's easier to
Oh,
just
yeah. I mean, a
email it.
lot of vendors too, they offer, if you have online access to the account that you can go sign up for, uh, email
Right.
invoicing. So then it automatically happens for you. So in a lot of situations, it was easy. It's kind of maybe the smaller type, the vendors that we utilize that it was more challenging to get them on board with what the direction we wanted to go.
I mean, and have you noticed that throughout your time at Dean a little bit, just always trying to be cutting edge or on leading edge? Like you're always going to find yourself just kind of, there'll be that beachcomber gap between you and your partners in business. Do they kind of follow along because if they think if Dean's doing it, we can do it, or like, has there been any resistance that way?
We've had a little bit of resistance from certain vendors. I mean,
Yeah.
there's, you know, when we implemented MetaViewer, I remember Dane, our project manager, always telling me is like, you're not going to come up with a solution for 100% of your invoices. Like we're shooting for 95%, and then you got to manage the other 5%. So, maybe that other 5%, maybe we're still, scanning and emailing invoices, but that is just few and far between.
Right. I mean, and just so you know, everyone in all the other listeners out there, Dane's birthday today. If you have him on
Happy
email,
birthday,
send him a
Dane.
message. Yeah, happy birthday, Dane.
Happy.
Um, now 6.8 that was on premise, and so it was you would have had it all kind of geared out through your division. When you then came over to the newest platform, our Enterprise 7.0, walk me through like that because my understanding is that you're in the best place you've ever been now, but there was a ton of bumps and curves and side swipes along that process. Also going to the cloud from being on
All right.
prem. Like, you don't mind taking some time, just kind of really let us and the viewers know what that process is like.
So, I think kind of as a rule of thumb, historically, all of our software has kind of been on-prem, uh,
Okay.
kind of before recently. And, when we went upgraded to the 7.0 version, I think that was our first on-prem software where we were converting to the cloud. So there was a lot more just a lot more questions being asked. And, it's not that our IT department wasn't receptive to the idea. It's just, I mean, it was just so much unknown. So, there was some hurdles there to kind of just try to get everybody on board. Uh,
Yeah.
um, have
What
you,
are the lessons? As I interject here, well, what hurdles do you think? Like, what's the main lessons for other listeners who might be thinking, hey, yeah, it's time for us to do this too? Like, what would you tell them about what you learned there?
to be perfectly honest, I mean, the biggest thing for me is just go for it. There's never going to be a right time to do it. You're always going to find a reason not to. Um, I say just go for it. Develop a plan
Yeah.
and execute the plan. Um, and having you guys host our software for us, there hasn't been, one of the big issues with it is, outages. Is our product going to be available? And it
Right.
like anytime that there's been an outage on the MetaViewer side or the Metafile side, it's clearly communicated. It's usually during off hours when no one's using the product anyways. So, that's always been very that has never been an issue for us. And we've been using it since, and this is our third year
Right.
using the 7.0 version, and I can't even think of one situation where we wanted to access the program and we weren't able to.
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, there is nothing worse than wanting to, but there's definitely nothing worse than not being able to and there being no communication. So, I
And
mean, if
then,
anything, right, communication's key.
from our IT department perspective, I think one of the biggest hurdles is, uh, you know, getting our internal IT to let go of, being the ones that, manage the software. But
Right.
I can tell you what, I mean, I know for a fact that they love, oh, there's a potential issue with MetaViewer. Oh, you got to reach out to their support. I mean, you know, it's hosted by them and you guys can just take care of all the issues. So what initially was a drawback of not wanting to, release the control of the software,
Right.
and now it's a benefit of like, oh, we don't even have to worry about this anymore. No
Like
server to maintain, it was just so much easier.
there's a power dynamic shift that is like almost it's it's pre-imposed by each individual until like they actually see it working in completion. Then they realize like, oh, like this is way better for me.
Yeah.
And I'm I still have a ton of things to be managing. It's not and it lets them be more efficient on the other IT projects as well. Have
Yeah.
other softwares gone to the cloud since we led the way?
Oh yeah. So I mean, right now, we are in the process of converting our fleet maintenance software,
Okay.
from the on-prem version to a hosted environment. And I can tell you the experience that we had converting uh, MetaViewer to the cloud version has made this process with our fleet maintenance software easier, because it just, we're not as reluctant, not as scared to do it. It's kind of easier to,
Right.
the change is easier to accept, and kind of hats off to you guys for making that process so easy.
I mean, hey, that's it's best when you can lead the way, but it's even better when you can do it and make sure that like the process you're building is replicable or replicatable, right? Because you want others to be able to follow it too. Like you don't want to
Yep.
pave a road and be the only bus that drives down it, if you will, right?
Yep.
You want to have repeat usage. So
And then on our roadmap here soon is to, you know, the whole changes that's going to Microsoft Dynamics, and what we're going to have to go there, which is going to be a hosted product. So, uh,
right,
you know,
yeah, right.
that change is on the horizon as well. So,
Have you not to get into, but have you are those meetings happening more frequently now? Like, are you at a process now that going to host is not as scary? Now it's just finding an ERP that aligns with what you need.
yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we're looking at right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that there's so many options and so many things to consider, but happy to have a conversation with you anytime on
All right.
that.
Go ahead.
Now, what do you think we're talking about hosted and how much better it is now. What was the biggest headache though through the process? Like, what was something that people should be prepared for? Like viewers that are thinking about like nothing's unicorns and rainbows. Although my 4-year-old will sometimes tell me everything is. What do you need to be prepared for on the other
So
side?
I mean, I think the biggest thing to be prepared for is when you convert from 6.8 to 7.0, it's a new implementation. So uh, you're starting from scratch. It's not that
Right.
just a quick download and couple switches on the IT side of things, and your system's up and running. Like, it is a full-blown new implementation,
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
which you know that can be a headache, but it's also an opportunity for a do-over. If you didn't like anything about your existing system, you wish this did something differently. Or in our situation at 6.8, I had so many customizations in 6.8
Right.
that kind of learned over the years of using it, that if I had a do-over, I'd put a lot less customizations and maybe adjust our processes to tailor the way MetaViewer was designed to work. So as we went through the 7.0 implementation, that was something that we definitely had in mind, of just try to have as few customizations as possible and really try to tailor your business processes to match the way that MetaViewer was designed. I mean, obviously, uh, you have a lot of different options. So
Yeah.
to how it can work. So it's not like a out of the box, you've got to use it this way. There's very there's a lot of switches and changes that you can make that's kind of built into your canned software. So
Yeah.
that was helpful as well.
Now the process piece, it's funny you say that. So that's often the pushback or the force we got to try to get through is how do you help customers? You don't want to tell them that their process isn't right because the process works and it's worked for so many years. But we have done 45 years of business of trying to come up with the process that keeps you compliant and then but it still offers you still a choose your own adventure as you go through the implementation. What was the biggest pushback or resistance in terms of the processy changes and how did you sell that through the organization?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I mean, it was really kind of up to me. I could independently kind of make that decision.
Okay.
Uh, and kind of was able to say, I mean, this is just kind of how it's going to be going forward. But I can tell you it's something that was always very helpful. Talk about the birthday boy again, Dane. When we were going to 7.0, I'd periodically just kind of bounce ideas off of him and kind of, me and him have had a good relationship over the years where he felt very comfortable with just flat out telling me, like, you don't want to do this.
Right.
This isn't a good idea, and this is
And
why.
here's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So kind of taking that feedback as we're evaluating options was very crucial into how we were going to make things work going forward.
Okay. No, I mean I bounce those ideas off Dane still, at the company because he does have a boatload and that's what our whole professional services team has, just so much experience and they have opinions, but like elbows, everyone has an opinion. So it's not always right, but they're willing to share. And they're also willing to share best practice and what they've seen or why something hasn't
Yep.
worked. So, you know, we're only here to create partnerships, not pirate ships, like I like to
All
say.
right.
And so,
Yep.
right, we want to make sure that we're sailing the seas together. Um, how much happier are you now? I know that's such an open-ended question, but now that you're through the process changes, you're through the IT into the cloud, like, what are your days like now in terms of the stress level of MetaViewer, and what do you wish then it could? What should we do next?
So so we're very happy. One of the reasons why we're happy. I remember the 6-8 days where say a document would be in verification and you're moving it out of verification and you would press a button to send it to the approver and you'd have to wait however long it took for the next task to pick up to actually move that document.
Right,
And I tend to be a very impatient person, and that used to just absolutely drive me crazy. Just constantly hitting refresh on the screen to see, oh, did this document move yet? And the new 7.0
yeah,
version, it's all instant. So
yeah,
you have those documents that you need to get through right away. You can have it in and out of the system within minutes when historically it would take half hour, 45 minutes, depending on
right.
of all the steps and the timing of all the tasks. So I mean that alone was uh,
I mean, add that up. How many invoices do you do, a month, do you think?
we do probably a couple thousand a month.
A couple of thousand a month from, let's and I'll say even on the slow days we're fast, so 15 in 6-8
Yeah.
minutes, and now you're looking at really like I'd say it was like 2 to 3, but we'll say 5. We'll even give we'll pad it like that's 10 minutes an invoice on thousands you
Yeah.
save over a month. Like that's a lot of time to be making sure you're paying things early, you're getting in the good books with your vendors, you're just always staying on top of it. Like it makes every day easier.
Yep, definitely, for sure. I mean, depending on how nerdy we want to get here, I mean, I could go on and on about some of the different features of new features of MetaViewer
I
that.
mean, yeah,
Um,
not even on I'll get as nerdy as you want, as you can tell. But I would love to walk me through some of the feature sets that now maybe even the ones you didn't realize that you're how much your benefit you're going to get off.
Yeah, I know one of the things that when you have a document in verification, that there's different screen layouts now. So in our environment here at Dean, everybody has multiple monitors. So you can arrange the layout of the screen where the document that you're trying to process is on one screen, and then the coding grid of have all the different attributes of the invoices on another monitor. And you can size those screens where all the fields are available and you don't have to scroll through a screen or expand anything. It's just all there. You can tap through all the fields and the data entry is efficient, which
Yeah.
that I'm always a big stickler on, and it's efficient. You can verify stuff quickly, and it goes a lot better.
That I mean, that's so funny you said. I was on a call yesterday with a customer talking 6, 8 to 7, and as she's showing us how like what her day to day is like now at 6, 8, and she had to change screens to go pick up an invoice number, but she wasn't on the VPN yet, and so like she said we had to wait. And there's just so many different pieces. Whereas in now, it's laid out. Here it is, and you can go through and just kind of click, 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 and move forward. So
And another thing that's great too is just all of the different screens where you'd want to search for an invoice, all the different types of search queues. If you're searching for a document verification, if you're just searching for a document in general, uh, the functionality of being able to search is
right,
so much more expanded. You can search on so much more criteria than you could before, which is so helpful when you're trying to, you know, maybe you're trying to search for a document, you don't remember the vendor, but you might remember a dollar amount, you might remember a date, or you might remember a general ledger code that you might have coded it to. Uh,
right.
all those different types of criteria that you can search on now that you couldn't necessarily search on before is very helpful.
Yeah, I mean the search function it definitely is a game changer. Do you know what model you're on currently within your system?
I do not.
I only ask because I mean for those that are on earlier models, that maybe where this wasn't a functionality, and they're still having to query, like try to query for customized report pulling. The search functionality has been released to even go back to those because the search you take for granted that functionality until once you have it, you just assume it's always been there. But if you don't have it,
Right.
then that's when it's really you can get frustrated trying to find some quick data.
Another couple things to really touch on is, another thing that we have is that the linear approval uh,
Yes,
system. So, supervisor A can approve up to X amount of dollars, and then if it's over that amount of dollars, it's got to get approved by supervisor B. Uh, and the concept of role-based approval too, the approval code concept rather than um, names of individual users. I mean, all those different things are designed to make things more efficient, and be able to have more accountability to your system and your business processes.
right. And has that accountability been witnessed by more than just you? Like, does everyone that touches from approvers to inputters to the accountants, do they all see that
Oh yeah, so
improvement?
as far as the linear approval goes, because it used to be in the old 6.8 system that um, I think we had it where you could define one or two approvers,
Right,
and if certain people only had to see invoices over a certain dollar threshold, the AP person had to remember all those rules, and if it was missed, it'd get to final review, you got to bounce it back, and just a lot of routing of documents. In here you can kind of set the rules and forget it, which
which
is
is nice,
yeah, which is very nice.
right? To be able to do that. So, I mean, you're on one of the newest versions, so version like model 44, but so that, I mean, that's great. That's why you already have that search capability. Um, Well, I mean, while we're going through features, I love highlighting some of them. What about your intelligent recognition piece of it? Like, instead of using profile builder, was there a big win there?
um yes, so I got pretty in tune to Profile Builder. I
Right.
I got pretty friendly to with that software. Um, so going from that going from that Profile Builder to the AI features, was new, and it worked pretty well. Um, uh, we had an issue where it just wasn't working right and needed to be adjusted. And
Okay.
once we figured out what the issue was, figured out how to address it, it was very easy to pivot. Um, a
Yeah.
lot more efficient, a lot easier to make changes than it was in the old profile builder software. So, um, that's kind of been a up and down thing for me. Like the making profiles, that was awful. I think we could all agree that
And right.
that was
Right.
awful. But I mean, if you know how to do it well, you're able to do it in a way in which it'll read the documents correctly all the time. Um, so that was a hurdle, but then getting into 7.0 where there is no more profile builder and seeing everything read correctly the first time and kind of get confidence in that AI software was good. And then, being able to have the ability to adjust how it's reading them too, that over time, that's been good. But overall, like as it stands today, it is working phenomenal, providing tremendous value for us, and would never want to go back to profile builder.
No. But there's another one of those like kind of things that you had to go through that process because you get friendly with it, and once it's tedious to do, but once you're good at it, like you were able to really make sure that everything was done the way you wanted to have that laid out, that architecture on your screen. Now IR, it intelligently takes it, and it's much quicker, but it's not maybe you got to teach it how to lay it out the way that you want it to see
Right.
it. Right
Yep.
now, before we go, I thought maybe give us like your not just your recommendation about I love the just go for it recommendation, but why now? Like what's the reason now you look back and think, thank gosh, I have made that decision to move to 7.0 and host it or not. I mean, I think that's a smart decision, but like what do you think when you look back and think like I can't believe we used to do it this way? Like what are those thoughts that still cross your mind about oh, I'm so glad we made the move to 7.0?
Um, I think the biggest benefit for us is just the timeliness of being the documents move through the system.
Right.
I mean that alone is a reason to go to 7.0. The timeliness of the task in 6.8 where we
Yeah.
already touched on this of one document take 15 minutes to go through the system, and now it's instant. um,
Okay. No, I agree. I mean, we deal in the currency of time. I just keep telling everyone that until people, I become a currency of time broker. That's what I tell my boss. I want to be a broker in the currency of time.
Also the linear approval stuff is highly beneficial. It provides value, being able to make sure that the correct people are seeing the correct documents at the correct time, um, and have it do it in an automated way as well.
Right.
And
Right.
ultimately too, I didn't realize this was a huge benefit for us. Is if you're not happy with how your 6.8 system is and you wish you could have a do-over, like now is your time to do it. Uh,
Right.
if if you wish you wish you had a do-over of how the program was designed, now is your chance.
No, and that's fair. And hey, I'm happy to have this publicly out there. So what do you want? What do you think? What do you wish we could do? Like what should we be focusing on our side that would make it even better for you? How can we continue to simplify the everyday?
And nothing really sticks out as something that has to happen. I would say uh, improvements. I wouldn't say improvements, but just going down the path of continuous improvement of how documents are being read, and uh, kind of continue
Yeah.
to focus on improving the product as it is currently.
Okay. No, I mean I appreciate that. Not only does he have a good opinions, has a great name. So I mean, Eric Toomey, I really appreciate you joining the call today. I'm really excited to get this out there. I think there's going to be a lot of our viewers that are going to be excited to hear about 6.8 to 7. If anyone has any questions, is it okay if they send me an email and I flip that over to
Oh
you if
yeah,
they wanted to
definitely.
pick your brain about 6.8 to 7 transitions?
Oh yeah, definitely. I am one of MetaViewer's biggest cheerleaders behind the scenes. So anything that I can do to, help an existing customer to want to
Okay.
upgrade the newest version, or talk to a potential customer of, why should I sign up with with Metafile. Just definitely happy to do it.
Well, hey, you're always a Spartan in our court, and so we appreciate that. I'm still trying to figure out how to get rid of ice days so you guys can run every day of the year. But until I can sort that out, it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to chatting with you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks.